Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming. It's Saturday morning, so we hope you got your coffee. Everybody, we were glad you could make it. It's going to be a good show. We got No Border Sports at the bottom, but not at the bottom. He's right there.
I don't care.
And then we
I could be at the bottom. It's perfectly fine with me.
got well, the difference between a numerator and a denominator is right. It's just a line, but a lot of people won't get that. They'll miss that
Yeah.
little. Yep. So. But that's it. And then we got David over here on the right of me, my left of me, depending on your camera view. I get that backwards. I always have to put my fingers up to see which way is left. And, it helps
You know
with
what I
the
do?
forehead.
You know what I do? I just do the opposite of what I naturally want to do. So if I want to go to David McNiner, I just go to David McNiner. You know what I'm saying? It's just the opposite of what I want to do. Brian Culp, David McNiner.
Well, let's start out with the chat. We got, of course, our favorite Bebop. Bebop's our favorite Philadelphia. At least one of our top five. We got a couple good Philadelphia people. John Jay's here. Good morning, John. We have Jeff here.
Can
Jeff's
we give a
always
shout
everywhere.
out to StreamYard for not being able to figure out how to put emojis, how to translate emojis to the screen, or some emojis? Because some emojis, like that one, hey, you got that, don't you? It's just hilarious.
And we got Joe E coming in. Great supporter, great supporter of the show, and really appreciate having you. So, guys, we're waiting on Johnny. Johnny's our guest. He'll be coming in a little bit shorter. He'll probably be coming in hot. He's doing those early morning grocery errands, and that's probably what we'll be doing here after the show. Me and Lily. No, actually, Lily's going on an event. My daughter, she's going to go hang out with some of her Job daughter friends, and they're going to go eat some pizza and have some fun like that. So I'll be running her there shortly. But for today's topic, we're going to go ahead and jump into what's that?
I said, jerks, I want to eat pizza.
Yeah, so Lily is a part of the Job's Daughter organization. It's a part of the Masonic fraternity. It's a group for, the Masons are, for adults and stuff, Shriners, and the Scottish Rite. And then you have the youth group, and there's like Rainbow for girls, there's Job's Daughters, and then there's D. Malays. And I'm a D. Malay. You don't ever stop being a D. Malay. It's a great organization. It's for different, people, different walks of life. But what it is it brings everybody together, and you're supposed to learn, like life skills and stuff from it, like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts or the Brownies or something like that. So it's a lot of fun, and she's been doing it for almost 2 years now. So she's had a lot of fun, and it makes me proud because there's ritual to it. There's memorization. There's you learn how to walk with a flag. Like there's all kinds of different things. So I have a lot of fun, seeing her stand up and be able to speak in front of a room, and it's great. It really is. Makes you really happy. But today's topic, I think we should jump into, if you guys don't mind. Let's go over a little bit of the roster, and we can go any way that you guys want to as well. We are still, again, waiting for Johnny. But before that, hey, Ryan, how's your morning going? And did you have anything exciting happen from last night till now?
No, not really. I did have my video drop, though, and that's about it. Make sure to go check it out. It's a Debo Samuel hype video.
I watched it. I like it.
Good. Appreciate it. And if you have any kind of comments, positive or something that you didn't like, please share it with me. I'm trying to hone in my talents. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make a good product. So I'm not going to get all but hurt about you saying you didn't like something. I'm going to take that into account. You know what I mean? Obviously, if everybody else is saying they love it, you not liking it isn't going to really shift anything. But I want to hear that type of stuff, because who knows? You know what I mean? Don't worry about my feelings, please. I'd feel a lot better if I made videos that people enjoyed watching. So please give me your input.
Most definitely. Yeah. Positive criticism or any criticism, I don't think you're afraid of someone calling you ugly, but I don't think that's what they're gonna say. Video is definitely fun. And if you guys have watched the Friday shows, and I think everybody in the chat seen the Friday show, you might catch the little jingle in the back. So I think it's very catchy. I
really like that one.
I definitely like to find out a little bit more about how you did some of those clipping. But how long again? How long did you work on it again?
Probably took me about 10 hours altogether for a 5-minute video.
Dedication. And
because you got to go through the tape. You got to go through the tape. You got to cut it down from, I don't know. And you're trying to get it all clipped in there and figure out what you don't. And then you're talking about, you're trying to sync up actions and clips with the music at times. You know what I mean? And then you're trying to put in the effects, and you're trying to so I could put the effect in the middle of the screen or on something, but the next frame it'll change and won't be on it. So I have to put keynote markers there to move it and adjust it the whole time. So you might see a 15-second clip where a special effect is moving with it for like 5 or 6 seconds. It might take me 10 minutes to do that. You know what I'm saying? To get everything how it looks right. And I go over it many times. It's like I always go back 2 or 3 clips, and then I watch it through to where I got done, and then I'll go and then I'll watch it again. I just want it to make it flow and make sense a little bit. Some things, I'll start working on, and then I'll just be like, I don't like this. It's not going to do this, so I'll just cut it out. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on when it comes to that. So, but, if you're going to spend the time, I just want to make sure people are going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind spending 10 hours of my week making a cool highlight video for people. It's just, I want them to enjoy it. You know what I mean? There's no sense in me spending this time if, nobody likes it. But it sounds, so far I've gotten good feedback.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, so please go and watch it. But it was definitely cool. I liked how you kind of blended in the pictures, and at first I'm like watching it, and it kind of made me think of like an old TV, when you get like a little static for a second, but it was like a neat transition. So I really enjoyed it. I'm waiting for the Jake Moody video, so it should be coming soon, right? Bro,
I told Tabor Pepper I was going to make a video for him, and still to this day I don't understand how it's going to take so long. Because I have to go through everything just to find snaps and like punt plays, like field goal snaps and like punt plays, and watch him and try and find him, doing coverage on punts and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh, but there's, it's easier when go ahead.
The tricky part, making a tackle, or have a tricky snap going on, blocking a guy and then going down and making a tackle. Finding those special plays probably going to be tricky.
And then making all that kind of fit in with the music, you know what I mean? Like, it's all like, I'm not worried about special effects, you know what I mean? Like as far as like the explosion type things that I'm putting in there. Like, I don't need to worry about that. But shout out to Brian Culp and his
shout out to Tony. Cup. You made this cup, right, Bryant?
Yep.
Shout out to Tony.
The only thing I did was I said, hey, you see this picture, Tony, with the American flag and the 49er flag and candlestick? I want David to have that. And she's like, okay. And then she changed the font on the other side, did your McNiner and stuff. And she said, you like this? And I said, I think that'll work. And then she showed me another one. She's like, which one do you like? And I'm like, don't do this to me. I like the first one. I like the second one. So yeah, she did a lot of work on it, and I think it looks great. So thank you, David, for bringing that up. Everybody here, we're building a community. It's fun. It's a lot of fun just sitting here talking, and the subs really. It's kind of fun when you see your numbers go up, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is I'm getting to talk to David and Ryan here, and we're having fun. But when I get to 100 subs, we are going to have a cup giveaway. And I think, depending on that, we're going to go quicker. We have 2 jerseys. I have an autographed signed jersey, and I have a authentic practice field jersey that we'll be giving away separately. And I don't know what would be the best time to do that. But again, if you are subscribed to the channel, you will be entered for the contest. If you want to help grow the channel and share it to other people, that's great. But once again, we're just here to talk football, 49ers, and maybe tell a dad joke once in a while. And I think that's a good way to start this morning off. I have a dad joke right here. So you guys all know Carson Wentz. What was the result of the joke that Carson Wentz told his receivers?
Went over their
It
heads.
went over their heads.
The guy's a good quarterback, but sometimes he just threw the ball just a little bit over their head. So, yeah, I found that. Thought that was funny today. So, again, good morning to everybody. The chat is popping. Tony jumped in. She's a great supporter of this channel, great supporter of me, and hopefully she can keep the chat popping. And, yeah, you got a lot of good feedback right here. Bebop said Pepper was mic'd up once. And I was kind of thinking about that too. Maybe if you did a mic'd up video of, or you could get some clips of him, maybe some clips of him standing around the sidelines or maybe getting ready to run out onto the field. I know there was that one penalty he had, I want to say it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, where he ran down the field too far and he was just down the field before he was supposed to. That would be a good maybe picture, like turning around, the flag's on me. Because when the flag's on you, dude, you only have one job, and that's not to get a flag. That's why he's supposed to be the best, So I like Tabor Pepper. He's a good guy. He's got a YouTube channel too. So
yeah,
he's pretty into Pokemon cards and stuff. So if you guys ever are into that kind of stuff, he does unboxing and unpackaging, and crazy guy, crazy. And again, John's here, and yeah, so let's go ahead and get into this a little bit, guys. Round 3, you guys know we took J.R. Brown, Azir Brown, sorry, he's from Penn State. We know he was a safety. We know about the kicker. We took our tight end, Cameron Latu from Alabama.
Latu.
Round 4. How do you say it?
Latu.
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 I'm gonna have to learn how to say his name because with him taking him early, I think he's more blocking type too, isn't he?
I did an instant reaction that night, and I put it up, and immediately, I don't think it was but an hour later, I had already had a comment with this fool don't even know how to say his name, and I was like, oh, then I was like, don't worry, within a week I will have it down. So I got it down as far as I know. I could still be wrong, but it seems like I was wrong saying Latu, and it's Latu.
I sometimes get caught up on words. I say it's my tongue in my mouth. I try to start talking, it just moves around too fast for me.
Makes it work, Brian.
That's what makes everybody happy, right?
It's a whole part of the plan, bruh.
So
yours just isn't working right. It's like
I listen to the commentators and stuff, and sometimes like BA, right? I call him Brandon Ayuk, but I've heard multiple announcers continue to call him Ayuk. And I'm like, whatever,
but
as long as you're not calling
them the people who are close to the team. Those are the national media guys that don't really, and they just, they don't give a shit, obviously, about somebody or their name enough to figure it out. You know what I mean? They see other people going, oh, it's just potato. No, somebody's got a specific name. It's supposed to be said a certain way. It's like zebra. It's not pronounced zebra. It's actually pronounced zebra. You know what I mean? And we say it's zebra. But when you really want to go talk about
we speak American. We speak American. We don't speak English. Let's be honest.
What's his name?
Jaguar.
The guy
used to be
the guy used to be on the Daily Show. Trevor Noah. He says, "Look, it's a zebra. You can't name it if you don't have them. So if you have them in your country, you go by whatever they call them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you guys know Yannick
to teach us how to say Florida. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't got a Florida. Those lucky bastards.
Well, like Yannick Nagaway. The
Yeah.
K is actually silent. So many people hack up his name. I didn't even know the K was silent till a little bit ago.
Yeah. You know, it's just you when you can, you gotta try and make the effort to at least give them, you know, like there was a guy I used to work with. He always used to call the guy who came in, he called him Slav, right? Because he's a Slavic guy, but his name is Stanislav. You know what I mean? And I explained to the guy, I was like, look, his parents named him Stanislav for a reason, bruh. You know what I mean? And so I was like, what's up, Stanislav? And he liked me because I kept up talking to him. You know what I mean? To actually cared about who he was as a person. You know what I mean? And it's real easy. Just, you know, treat somebody with respect. Try, you know, it's okay. Make mistakes. You know what I mean? And I interviewed one guy. He never came back on ever again. Never heard from him again. I can understand. I slaughtered his name. Oh, I got his name right one time. Could not say it right the rest of the whole interview. It was horrible. And I felt bad the whole time. But what are you going to do? Like, bro, you got a hard name. So don't act so like you should be used to people slaughtering your name by now and understand that people just don't have it in them to say blah, blah, blah.
That's how I feel about my buddy Joshua Josue Alvarez Map. I know him as Josh, but his name's Josue. So when I literally see him, hey Josh, right?
How
So
does he spell it? Is it too close to Jose?
It's Josue. It's Jouse with like a. So I get so like embarrassed because
Jose.
Yeah. I can't spell it right now. I have it written down.
That's Jose. That's Jose. Don't mess with me and try and lie to me that it's some different name. That's Jose.
No, he's got like an apostrophe at the end of the E. It's Josue. It's Jouse.
Okay, I got a question. How does the little mark at the end with the E change the J at the beginning of it?
Again, I get really embarrassed because his name to me has always been Josh, and his mother named him Josue. So I really want to give him the kudos. And one day we were talking, you know, and I seen him, you know, post it. He after his mother passed, he said he wants to start, you know, going by Josue. So like when he introduces himself to somebody for the first time, that's what he wants to be called. And you know, if you remember or you know him, that's what he would like you to call him as well. But like people like me, you know, his silly friends, you know, that can't remember that shit or speak, he gives me like a, you know, a blank check or whatever. You know, he gives me a, you know, I can steal that base or whatnot. You know,
it's hard. It's hard after you've known somebody so long to then just call them something different.
Yeah.
Look at the Washington Commanders. You know what I'm saying? Like it's part of muscle memory essentially at that point. When you think of that person, your muscles, you know what I mean, automatically go to put that out, and then halfway through it, you have to go, whoop, I forgot, and then you got to memorize and come up with the other one.
Yeah. So this is how you say his name, and again, I call him Josh because I've, you know, like you just said, you know, like you look at
that's how you spell Josue?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'll look at him and I'll say, hey, Alvarez, or I'll say, hey, Matt, because that's his last name. Yep. And I know him that way too. So like we'll walk up, you know, and see each other. He'll say, hey, Culp. And, you know, so we call each other by our last names too, but I've known the guy since high school, you know, so I really do like, I feel bad sometimes because I can't say his name, but I can say it after I think about it. So I don't know. That's just one of those things, but yeah, when we get new players on the team and stuff like that, it's fun because now we have a Javon and a Javon. So
just, you know, and they're spelled the exact same way.
Yeah. I used to work with Jesus, a guy named Jesus, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I would always like say Jose. You know what I mean? Like, yes. I'm not, for some reason, like my mind would revert to Jose, and like I know it's Jesus, and at the end, I was just calling him Chewy because Chewy is the nickname. It's like the bill for William. Chewy is the bill for Jesus. You know what I mean? So I just started calling him Chewy, and that was fine. Chewy, Chewy, Chewy. You know what I mean? Like that's perfectly fine. It was just like when I was trying to call him Jesus, Jose would come out, and it's like, what
Yep.
the hell? It's just like I don't even like have a Jose in my circle of friends at this moment in time. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like, you know, I didn't know where the hell it was coming from.
My boss in Livermore, when I was working there a couple years ago, his name was Jose. I start working in Stockton, in Manteca, and my boss's name was Jesus. Oh, for the love of me, I tried so hard, but I kept calling him Jose, and I would stop, and I'm so sorry. And before he would even say anything, I'm like, I know your name's Jesus.
Yeah.
And he'd get so mad. He'd get so mad, and I'm so sorry. You know,
And
Jose.
you understand why he's mad too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why you're just like, God, I fucking feel like an idiot right now. I know why he's mad. I'm mad at myself. It's fucking shitty.
But then I thought it was funny because he'd call me Brian. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, well, are you calling me Brian because you are just doing it to be because, or do you not know my name is Bryant? You know, so there's stuff. See, you guys, my name right here, it says Bryant, like the heating and air conditioner called Bryant.
It's right here, Brian. Remember
Somewhere.
the opposite of what you want to do. Now, you can invert the thing, but anything that has letters or anything like that will be backwards. So you could essentially switch your you can toggle your thing and not have to do the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, we'll just
you gotta think real hard. Brian.
It's gonna take me a while.
David McNiner. Brian.
But
David McNiner.
I do the same thing, Brian. I do the same thing.
It happens. So
you're all new to this stuff anyways. Don't worry.
A lot of good information's come out about the schedules. You know, the weeks we're playing. We got five live games, games of the week.
El pinche jefe.
Oh, Tommy. Good morning, Tommy. Thank you for coming. Tommy's a great guy. You guys ever see him? Shout out to the camel. But yeah, we got a lot of good games coming up, and I'm excited. I really am. I'm also excited.
Tommy asked Ryan a question. If Ryan has a job interview or something, yeah.
No, actually, I've had job interviews. Yes.
The lamb tears are good this morning.
Oh, I bet. Those salty bastards. You know you've done something good when a whole bunch of other teams come into your chats because their team sucks.
All the time.
Yeah, that's a lot of
fun. Brian, how I do this is I look at the background and I figure out I'm backwards. yeah. That's how I started doing it, you know, just to try to get my pointing right.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that down, but we'll just keep playing around. So I am excited. I'm excited about our roster. I like how now they're keeping everybody until like a final cut. I think that's better. You know, then other teams aren't just swooping on players and saying, "Oh, they just cut that guy." You know, it makes it, I think, fairer for the whole league. Maybe not for the players that are getting cut because maybe they had a better shot of going somewhere else and getting placed somewhere else. But at this point, you cut a bunch of people, and then you can look to see where other teams have cut. And if you're solid with the players that you got, then you don't have to pick up anybody in, you know, free agency or after the cuts. Those other teams that are looking for players, you know, like I will just say it, Seattle seems to take our players, the ones that we cut a lot or don't sign, and they seem to do something with them. So I don't know if they're scheming off of our playbook or, you know, we've let too much information out to the rookie and now they're going up there and teaching Seattle, but I would like to see us do that sometime. And if they ever let go of like that wide receiver, Jake Bobo, or that corner, Kobe Bryant, I would definitely like to see the Niners swoop on him. But that's a big dream. But I think the roster cut at 90 is a lot fairer lot more fair for everybody involved. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys like how the roster is being broken down now, or did you like it in the past, where they would do cuts and then a couple more weeks later they'd cut again? But now it's just one final cut.
Oh, I didn't know they changed the rules. I actually didn't see that. But so we get to keep 90 guys until the final 53.
That's what I understand.
Wow, that's going to make that day a mess. No, it's not a me problem. It's an NFL problem, but that's going to make that day a mess. But I actually like it because it gives the guys that typically get cut early a chance to come back, and prove something, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Like players like Hyder, like what Bebop just said, and other players that's been in the league playing. We have an opportunity to see what they're doing, how they're fitting in with the other guys that we have, and potentially seeing if they are going to work together. And if they don't, then some of these players might just make the practice squad. And I like how now they're doing the veterans. We can save a couple or, stash a couple guys on the practice squad. That was my kind of thought with if we were going to go after somebody like DTR, maybe they'd put somebody like Sam Darnold on the practice squad. But at this point, I think Sam Darnold's making the team. And we know DTR is in Cleveland. So that's another dream that didn't happen. So, and we got Willie Rodriguez there. Thank you, Willie.
What up, Willie?
For coming. Great.
Thanks for joining us. So I think this is good and bad for teams. It's kind of nice because you don't, have to cut down if somebody gets injured after you've already made a cut. Then you could have had another guy on your squad, in his place. You will not have to fish any rounds, but it's nice to be able to have those rounds of cuts because if you aren't confident in one of the guys you got, but you're so lean in that position that you think he might make your roster, with those first couple cuts, you got a chance to go and shop things. If you're deep in another position, you might let somebody else go and then find somebody else.
Well, guys, thanks for waiting with us. The event is started. We are bringing in our guest. Super excited. Johnny C's coming in. Thank you very much for all waiting for us. Johnny Chessari, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your time. How are you doing this morning?
What's going? I'm doing well, Brian. How you doing, brother?
Great. I'm loving it. It's a Saturday morning, so we're having a little bit of coffee, of course, and talking to the guys, Ryan and David. And we kind of wanted to have you on. We're going to sit back for a few minutes. Everybody's going to ask you a question, I'm sure, but we kind of want to just hear what you have to say about the overall draft and our 90-man roster and any other things that you want to just add into, because I wanted to bring you on so we could hear from you.
Okay. So, just in regards to the 90-man roster and the undrafted free agents, the guy who I think is going to surprise and make the team is Coletto from Oregon State. He's one of those gadget guys who, if Shanahan incorporates properly, could surprise some people. He's deceptively athletic. He's good.
Oh, Ryan, you're muted.
Brian, you were muted. Did you say something?
Yeah, I said that's what we thought was going to happen with Jason. We thought we had somebody with a lot of athletic ability who could be used in multiple situations. Kyle didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, anything that Kyle gets hands on to improve, anything that Kyle can do to improve the offense, he always will. So, again, I also like the kid from the YouTube videos from Oregon. I had to kind of look at who he was as a wide receiver. I actually think he has the outside shot at making the team. Because when they first signed him, I was like, okay, another camp body. Personally, think he's better than Snead. So we could kind of look at it like that.
So, what are your thoughts on the draft? I know a lot of us have already got to talk about it a little bit. We moved up for safety. We drafted a kicker, and we got a tight end in our first round. Round 3. So, what are your thoughts on
Yep.
those? And what's your overall thought on the grade for the draft?
I mean, given the fact that we didn't have nothing in the first 2 rounds, and given the fact we picked where we did, a solid B, because what they did was fill some holes, and they also improved depth. So whenever you can improve certain areas on your team and also improve the depth, you're not going to know if these guys can play until they do. But the safety they drafted up for, he's going to be a 10-year NFL starter once he gets the opportunity. Because Gibson is on a 1-year deal. Literally, Brown will learn from him for about a year, and then he'll be starting immediately.
David, do you have any questions for Johnny?
Well, what do you think of the Javon Hargrave signing?
They needed to fill a need on the defensive tackle. Personally, I wanted Payne from Washington, but the Washington did what I thought they were going to do, and they paid him. So we got the next best thing. He literally saves Eric Armstead, because Eric Armstead, if he's healthy with him on the defensive line, you're gonna see the kind of year that got Armstead his original contract, with Hargrave on that defensive line.
I think that's right. Hey, Jeff, what are your feelings about the right tackle position?
Honestly, they have a lot of faith in McKivitz, because based on how they treated that specific position, they know a lot
In the
more
draft?
than what we. They know a lot more than what we know, because if they didn't really address it, which they didn't really, that tells me he's a lot better than people think.
I agree. I think they have faith in the offensive line. I know we are all, wanting them to take somebody, with the third pick or someone higher. But with the undrafted free agents, they did go after 2 tackles. And I'm really confident that they just believe in the guys they have on the team right now.
I mean, here's the thing. It also tells me that Shanahan trusts his system enough where, in regards to the offensive line, when you have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield and you literally have a top 5 running back in the NFL, then you have your offensive line isn't as much of a priority as it really should be, honestly. But the thing is, I actually think McCaffrey has a shot at the MVP this year as a running back, because when I'm looking at him, if he actually plays all 17 games, you might see him run for 1,200 yards and have 1,000 receiving yards in the same year. Because at the end of the day, when he's lined up at wide receiver, he's better than most slot receivers. So, again, having him on the team and having him in Shanahan's system for a full year is not good for the NFL. Good for Niner fans, not so much for everyone else that has to play him.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. CMC, I definitely can see him being 1,000-yard back, 1,000-yard wide receiver, just like Marshall Faulk, just like Ricky Williams. Not Ricky Williams,
Marshall?
Tomlinson.
Roger Craig. And yeah, Marshall Faulk. Marshawn Faulk. Oh my gosh, I'm getting tied up now. The guy from the Rams.
Marshall Falk. Yep.
Marshall Falk. Marshawn. Oh my gosh. Thinking of Beast Mode. Oh
I
my
know.
gosh. But yeah,
It
I
just
think
sounded like a shawl, like, we're supposed to be putting something over our
But
shoulders.
yeah, no, and also when the 49ers drafted D Winters, just the way his measurements are and the things that he could do, they literally drafted another Greenlaw. Just you hope that he doesn't get the 15-yard penalties that Dre gets. I mean, look, I appreciate anyone who plays aggressive, but be smart when you're doing it. That's all I ask for. And again, I knew they were gonna draft a kicker. I know a lot of people said it was early, but look at this. If they would have waited and picked him in the 4th or 5th round, would he have actually been there? Because I know the Patriots drafted a kicker. Because I know the Patriots drafted a kicker right after, if I'm not mistaken, in the 4th round. So again, if the guy's going to help
13
the
spots
team,
later.
which I mean, if the guy's going to help the team, here's how I also look at it. It's not even just about making kicks, which is a critical piece. He's also going to kick the ball out of the end zone where the special teams coverage, kickoff coverage is actually improved because there will be actual touchbacks.
Well, who knows if that'll even matter? It seems like they're changing the fair catch rule to no matter where you catch
Because
the
the
ball,
49ers
you placed it on the
Yeah, no.
25-yard line.
Exactly. And the 49ers defense has they're gonna do what they're gonna do no matter what, but with him kicking the ball as far as he can kick it, it can only help.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if they would have not taken him when they took him, the Patriots would have taken him, or even the Packers, because the Packers also took a kicker. They took Anderson Carlson from Auburn. And that just shows that they are like, oh my gosh, they're taking our guys right now. We got to do something. So everybody started scrambling. And I know a lot of people don't think kickers are humans or, special or anything, but they are on special teams and they are, the
For the
only
brand.
person that does that. So I think they did a good
And
job. Guys on our team for 10 years.
and Brian, I did want to address an undrafted free agent because I saw a question in the chat. Laybourne Marshall. If he makes the team, he's dangerous because he was going to Florida State. He got kicked off the team. I forget for what. But if he actually makes the team, he has a little bit of J.P. Mason in him, where he could actually run you over, and he's actually kind of elusive for a big guy, but he's good. I don't know if he makes the team or not. I hope he kind of does, because ultimately, as much as I hate to say it, because when he plays, he's good. Mitchell's not going to stay healthy. He's just not going to. So, I mean, yeah, Mason should actually get more carries, especially on the goal line. But I'm not sold on the kid from LSU they actually drafted in the 3rd round because he hasn't really got that many carries. So we'll see if he could play. I'm assuming he can. But if Laybourne actually makes the team, Eli Mitchell is going to have less of a role because of his unfortunate injury history.
So Willie brought up a question here, and I think
love
we
this
could all
question,
address
Willie.
it. Can we still add Ngakwe or Clark? Bosa needs help, and adding another defensive end would put us over the top. Heard Jackson doesn't look ready yet.
I think they're going to ultimately because since CMC restructured, we have money. And yeah, I mean, we're going to have to get down to the 90 guys, which I think they did. But honestly, I always think Lynch looks for ways to improve the team no matter where you are in the offseason. And again, I also think they're going to look at DBs. Because here's the thing. We know Mooney Ward's on one side. We all know that. Okay. do we all really still trust Lenore? Because when I'm looking at him, I get he played better at the end of the year, but prior to that, he was being picked on. Which, I mean, I know a lot of us are kind of raised eyebrows because it looked like he was a weak link in the defensive backfield. They started playing better, but so you got Lenore. I'll
Wait.
pencil him at the number.
I got a question. So it seems
Mhm.
like Steve Wilkes wants to go to more of a press man, maybe on third down type look, and it seems like Demo might not be so much adequate at doing some press man like that. Do you think that might be his downfall more so than what he has shown in the past? You know what I mean? Do you think that might be more of a downfall?
Well, it could be because I don't see Lenore as a physical DB. I think he's more finesse. I think he's a ball hawk trying to get picks, which is great. I mean, he got a key pick against Dak because Dak's every time he's in a big game, and I
Do you think we
respect
could move
that.
him to safety?
No, I mean, I think Lenore's best suited to be your nickel corner. That's
Okay.
really what I'm seeing. But you have Womack, who is unproven. You also signed the guy from the Panthers, who I think is going to get a lot of playing time because Wilkes' guy. I mean, Wilkes is good with secondary players. He is. I mean, honestly, I still think they bring in Marcus Peters. I just do. I don't know if it will be like the Richard Sherman effect, but the guy's only 30. Uh, he's had a couple injuries lately, but in the right system, he could be good, especially ours. The Niners, when it comes to defensive players, I'm not going to question how they evaluate them. Linebackers, defensive ends, most of the time they know what they're doing there. So if they bring in a veteran DB, I'm not going to be shocked.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
we're going for it.
again, and a lot of people always will ask, well, what about the quarterback? It just don't matter who it is. As long as I don't have to watch Sam Darnold start, the 49ers will win 13, 14 games. Because when I looked at the schedule, a lot of people were like, oh, it's tough. The only challenging games I really see, I don't even really see the Eagle game as a challenge like a lot of people do because the Eagles got substantially worse. And their schedule's not 32nd in the NFL anymore. Before the Eagles actually play the Niners, they have to play the Chiefs and the Bills prior to that. So they might be looking at three straight losses before they actually play the 49ers. Well, at least two straight. So again, the Eagle game is just for the fact that what happened in the NFC title game happened. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't have a quarterback, and the rest is history. I think, again, the result was the result, but my whole thing is, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. If Brock would have played that entire game, the 49ers do not lose by 24 points. Do they win that game? No idea. But do they lose by 24? Absolutely not. Not in a million years. Because the Eagles only had like 300 yards of total offense in that game. It's not like they rolled up drive after drive after drive after drive. What happened was they literally took advantage of short fields and no quarterback. Congrats. But what I'm looking at with the Eagles is they lost both coordinators. They lost Hargrave to the Niners. Yeah, did they get guys from Georgia in the draft? Okay, yeah, they did. but these are rookies in the NFL. Do we know how they're going to translate yet? No, we don't.
How often do you see a first-year rookie defensive tackle in the league actually produce good numbers like he did in college? You don't normally. Quentin Williams didn't. You know what I mean? The only person who really did, like, as far as the line, was Jadeveon Clowney. That guy was just a monster out of the gate.
Yep.
But you don't find him like that. And
No.
Jalen Carter could be, but we haven't seen it yet.
But the thing about Jalen Carter that I would be worried about is the simple fact of the red flags that are surrounding him. That's one thing. The fact that the Raiders passed him up because of it says a lot, to be honest with you.
Yes, they love trash players like him. Like,
dude,
that is their motto.
He literally did what Ruggs did, except he didn't kill somebody.
I don't know if I'd go as far to say that because I don't know what actually happened there. You know what I mean? But it seems like there are enough red flags that they'd be like, yeah, this is a great pick. This won't turn around to bite us at any point in time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing. They're literally, and this brings back painful memories. And again, Lynch has done a lot of good things here. We're going to go to the one mistake. Trading Buckner for the Colts pick and drafting Javon Kinlaw. What the Eagles did was literally replace Jalen Carter they literally replaced Hargrave with Jalen Carter.
Which is
a proven
funny
player.
Because Javon Kinlaw has got this knee issue and Jalen Carter kind of got his off field. If Jalen Carter or Javon Kinlaw could have each other's other good trait, they'd be a great player, I think.
Well, here's the thing.
Javon Kinlaw doesn't get any BS.
No.
Other than his tat with the cone, but that's fine. You know what I mean? You're not smacking your wife up. You're not drinking and driving. I'm okay with that.
The thing with Kinlaw, he just needs to play on rushing situations because he takes up two guys and play on third downs. He's not an every down player because of his knee, and I've accepted that. But
you can't
just play in situations.
You can't get him on the field in those situations all the time, unless the other team's doing substitutions. You know what I mean? And then you're at their mercy almost, unless you want to call a timeout to get him off the field. Because
I would love it if Kinlaw blew up this year and made the Pro Bowl, and I still wouldn't resign him because there's too much injury history there.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, if he didn't have a degenerate bad knee, and then he made the Pro Bowl, I would be like, okay, you could actually re-sign him because he is technically young, but it's just the knee's done. And I've accepted it. I'm not mad. It's life. But the thing is, I told on another show when we first entered the off season, and I was saying this last year when the Niners had won 12 in a row, that the defensive line isn't good enough. Bosa's only one guy. And unfortunately for me, and I hate being right, but that's what happened in the playoffs when Bosa didn't really do what we're used to him doing. The guy was worn down because he had no help. So the Hargrave thing is a godsend for Bosa. It's also a godsend for Armstead because if Armstead's actually healthy before he got the big contract, when he had Buckner on the other side of him, that's the effect Hargrave's going to have. And the thing about Hargrave, he does not miss games. The guy's durable, which is a critical thing. I mean, signing him added 10 sacks to the 49ers defense. That's literally what that was.
Yes. Well, I think it's more than that. I think it's more than that because he's like a force multiplier. You know what I mean? He's going to get so much attention over there. Somebody else is going to get more than their allotted, sacks for the year because they were trying to hold back the beast that is Javon. You know what I mean? Because, look, Bosa is a beast, right? But he's not as big as Javon and as menacing, essentially, as
Mm-hmm.
Little Bear is going to wear you down. He's going to, he's got quicker moves than, you know what I mean? He's got certain things that work great to his advantage. But like, you would rather have somebody have a good day and, hopefully do 101 against Javon Kinlaw before you have some little guard try and defend that, because ultimately the shortest route to the quarterback is the most dangerous one, and that is up the middle. You know what I mean? So to have a presence like that in the interior of the line, and then you've got Eric Armstead, who isn't a DeForest Buckner as far as pass rushing goes, but you put him next to a Javon Hargrave, a Defoe, and DeForest Buckner, you get somebody who can use that gap, that attention to get open and cut through too. So that's why I'm saying I think he's a force multiplier. Yes, he's going to get his 10 because he's going to get the devoted attention like he always gets, but he's
Yep.
going to multiply other people's production just because of that, because you're going to have to give him his respect, or else it's going to be a long day for that quarterback. Try to get the money for the rent.
And I was looking at the Niners defensive line, and I saw the Clark and Ngakoue stuff. They could, I'm looking at Jadeveon Clowney as a guy they would be really interested in pass rushing situations. He's not an every down player anymore, but when you know that they're going to throw, you can see an explosion off the edge a little bit. And he probably will be cheap with deal, and if he actually 7 or 8 sacks, then he's going to get what a Menu and Epicom got. That's literally, the Niners get defensive ends contracts on other places. It's just what we do here. So any defensive lineman who has doubt generally would come to the Niners for a year, ball out, and then get paid by someone else. That's literally what the pattern's been here. So that's what I look at with the defensive line.
So with like Rajon Ridgeway who tore up Purdy's arm?
Yeah. Yep. It was Hassan Reddick, and
Hassan Reddick. Okay.
Yep, and that was unfortunate. But also, Bryant, just because there's been a lot of chatter about if he's going to get cut or not, it's about Debo. Debo's going to blow up this year. Because honestly, these guys say they don't read nothing or none of this. Trust me, they hear things. I have a very just feeling that Debo will be Debo before he got the contract. And if he is, then that's another good thing for the 49ers. Because again, doesn't really matter who the quarterback is. It really doesn't, because the Niners have so many weapons. Purdy was the last pick in last year's draft, and he had all these weapons to go to, and he looked pretty comfortable with that. So again, as long as the quarterback's not Sam Darnold, I think we're okay. Because here's the thing. I understand Darnold could throw the ball. I understand the arm talent. Here's a problem I have. This is it. If people were hammering Garoppolo for turning the ball over, have they watched Sam Darnold play?
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Again,
we were talking about this last night. Hold on one second. So my thought of this, I want to get your input, is it's not like physical things that are causing him to throw these interceptions. This is just bad mistakes in the middle of nowhere. He's not being pressured. It's not anything like that. It's just like every 10 throws, he's got to make a bad, crazy, wild one that just puts things at risk.
Exactly.
And for no reason.
And here's the thing.
Okay.
There's one thing, Brian, with that, and that's the thing about it. Like, what we have with Sam Darnold is someone who's better than Josh Johnson. That's it. And that's literally They're paying him to wear a hat and carry a clipboard. I'm okay with all that. And it's not a knock on him, but if people didn't like Garoppolo playing, then people really won't like him playing. So that's where I'm at with it. Whoever it is, Purdy or Lance, to me it should be Lance. Because here's the thing. When I look at Trey, I'm not even looking at the 3 first-round picks they gave up for him. Not even about all that. And technically, people say that was a horrible trade. Yes and no. Those 3 first-round picks were all late at this point. It's not like they were 3 top 5 picks. It wasn't that. Again, you're not going to be able to evaluate a quarterback on 3 starts or 3.5 starts or whatever it was. So that's kind of where we're at in regard to that.
So I got a question, and I'm gonna give it to David because I know he's been quiet for a minute. With Hassan Reddick, wasn't he on our practice squad last year or training camp last year? And we
Hassan Reddick?
Yeah, Hassan Reddick was in camp last year, the way I understand it.
I honestly don't remember him being on the squad. Oh,
No. What I heard that it was between us and the Eagles, and Hassan Reddick chose the Eagles. So I think he wasn't.
Okay.
I believe he was in camp with us, and we offered him a 1 year, and the Eagles offered him a 2 year. So that's why he went to Philadelphia. But he was supposedly in our camp. And if that's true, who do you guys see as possibly, happening again? Because we have like Kerry Hyder, we have other players on our team that could go to another team and, maybe get the last laugh at the end of the year. Like you look at Trey Sermon, you look at, he went to the Super Bowl. We cut him. You look at the guy from Kansas City, the other running back, McKinnon, same thing,
McKinnon.
So who do you guys, I know it's kind of a hard question to answer, but do you see anybody on our team this year potentially going somewhere around doing better without us?
No. The Niners system produces certain things, and that's a testament to Shanahan and Lynch, the way they evaluate certain players. So, I mean, think about it. Hyder left us to go to Seattle, then he came back. So, that's how you have to look at it. Ameni went to the Chiefs. We'll see if he could actually play decently there without having Bosa on the other side of him. So, again, when I think about the guys who leave, it doesn't bother me because with Ebicom, he actually might still be okay because he's gonna be having Buckner on the other side of him if I'm not mistaken. So he actually might be okay, but we'll see. I mean, I think the Niners system, though, for the most part, especially when it comes to defensive players, pretty much is an ideal situation for most of them that play in their system. So,
do you see us picking up like a Frank Clark?
Honestly, I know that seems to be. I see it as kind of the chic pick. I don't. I honestly think they'll look. I think Ngakoue. I think Ngakoue. I think if they sign Ngakoue, I think that would be more of an ideal fit.
Or Houston. I think Houston's kind of a nice guy.
I think Justin Houston would be an ideal fit. I also think Clowney in pass rush situations strictly would work.
Nope. I'm not banking on that guy. He decides when he wants to do things, and if he doesn't feel it, he just won't bring it, I think. And I'm not paying money for anybody who does that. I want somebody, no matter how less talented you are, I want to know what you're going to give me every play. I want people are dependable, so I can guarantee that they're going to give me this much output every play and get bank on that. That's just how I am.
What do you think, David? What's your thoughts? And do you have questions? Want to keep you active?
So, well, when it comes to our D line, I could actually see a guy like, Kerry Hyder getting cut. I could see us keeping, Beal Jr. over him because of the whole upside thing. I could see. I mean, our roster it's going to be interesting how things play out because we did end up picking 9 guys in the draft, and do we have that many spots for these guys? Probably not. Not with the guys we've signed, the players that we picked up. Like, we picked up some defensive backs from the Carolina Panthers that Steve Wilkes was familiar with, And honestly, I think Steve Wilkes is an interesting subject because, we've had the rah-rah on the sideline, all about the pass rush and, playing zone coverage guys with Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans. But now we have Steve Wilkes, who's more like press man, and which is going to really test our defensive backs. And then we got, he's going to be up in the booth, watching, looking at the whole field and seeing how things play out, and he's going to be calling the game from there. So.
Yeah, I mean,
we have a little bit of fun. Sometimes we all have nicknames or whatnot, and Damian Lee, he called Ryan Palpatine from Star Wars.
So I was doing my Palpatine. Do you watch Star Wars at all, Johnny?
honestly, there's been so many of them. I kind of lost interest after a while. So
Palpatine's in like the first couple. So first the old school ones. Those are the good ones.
yeah, it's been a while though. I can't lie to you about all that, but
Go fund me for Ryan's staff.
But here's the thing with the 49ers, and a lot of people always wonder how they're going to adjust having a new defensive coordinator. There's not really any adjustment period because Shanahan always will make sure that the defensive schemes that they're running always will try and stay the same. I mean, look at it like this. People were panicking a little bit when Saleh left because of the inexperience of D'Amico as a defensive coordinator. 2 years later, D'Amico got a coaching job. So I'm not worried about adjustment. I mean, Wilkes, technically, probably should have got the Panther permanent job. So I'm not worried about how he operates our defense. It's to me, it's kind of dummy proof in a sense. So I think he's going to be fine.
I honestly think Steve Wilkes is an upgrade because, he's got more experience. I like D'Amico Ryans as a coach, but, he has more experience in the league, and I'm with you. He should be a head coach somewhere.
Well, the thing is about Wilkes, the Achilles heel of the Niners, it was a knock before. It was a knock before last year, and then it became something better during the year. But the knock was a little bit on the secondary. Steve Wilkes is a secondary guy, so if there's questions about the secondary, I'm pretty confident Wilkes will have those answered. So. I mean, again, the only thing that kind of I was a little bit surprised with is they let Mosley walk. But again, off a torn ACL, you don't know how a guy's going to react when he comes back.
And you don't know if he's going to be available at the beginning of the season.
No, I mean, he did that in October, and it's a 9-month thing after you do it. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Theoretically, by July-ish, he should be fully recovered. But after that, though, when you go through training camp and preseason games, you still don't know how your knee's going to react until you actually try and do it again. So.
Ooh, good question, Tommy. This is for everybody.
Coverage over rush 50-50. I think it needs to be 50-50. The reason being is you can't put all your eggs in one basket. You're going to need a line that can rush, but they also need to be able to run block. And that's going to need that on every play. Just like you're going to need the backs to be able to cover and come up and run block. You know what I mean? Or tackle. So I think it's 50-50.
I honestly think it's hard, but for me, I'd rather have a rush, and I'll explain why. Because if you're planting a quarterback, your coverage doesn't have to be perfect anyways. You cannot complete passes when you're under siege. So,
but you could get short passes out.
Yes, that's true. But if there's short passes and your coverage is where it should be, then they're going to be minimal plays, and you're still going to be behind the chains too. So for me, I'd rather have a rush because look at it like this. In 2019, the 49ers D line was insane. We actually had D4's one healthy year for us. We had Armstead blow up. You had Bosa do what Bosa does, and having that along with Buckner, that defensive line was sick. And
where did we get exposed?
Technically, the secondary was the issue, but because the pass rush was so good, though, it kind of minimized what the DBs were.
There was some holding. It seemed like there was some holding, but you can't count that in there. You know what I mean? You have to just play it straight up. And I think the 49ers learned a lot that year. Zone needed to go at certain times. You can't just always fix everything with a zone package. And they needed to, and I think this is the evolution of their game, because they went with D'Amico Ryans, who was open to opening up the defense a little bit more and playing a little more man. And he played. When you've got a Chris Kosirk on the team, you need a Steve Wilkes to kind of balance it out, and then you can work in between, to kind of fill out the linebackers. It seemed like D'Amico, we need somebody in the secondary. If we got a Coach Kosirk on our team, we need somebody who's more of a secondary guru to kind of match. Because I don't think you can, you're going to pay. I just think that's the best situation as we're going, and it seems like he likes to blitz a lot more. We've always tried to get home with 4, and I think it's really nice to be able to inundate people with all sorts of blitzes and really mess with them right when they're trying to figure things out, especially when it's like we could barely hold on with 4, and now we're going to make sure that we get home with 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think we'll see a lot more blitzing out of him, which is good. It's good to be aggressive. So, again, we'll see. Again, I'm fully confident that he'll press all the right buttons and the defense won't skip a beat. I mean, on paper, this is a better team than it was last year. But they still got to play. And, again, I don't really ever worry about the preseason at all. My whole point of the preseason is the starters do not get hurt. Keep them in street clothes. Have them ready for what the first week of September for the Steelers. Play them one series each in the final preseason game. That's all they'll need, and get ready for the Steelers. That's it.
I would push back on that just for the offensive line. I feel the offensive line needs as much time in those preseason games as possible, maybe minus Trent Williams.
He's out there. Go in the house.
I just think that we start off slow, and the reason behind it is our offensive line isn't grooving as well as they can. And I think that if you give them real game time, more game time situations, they'll improve better because, they're scrutinized more under those game time stuff than what's, happening in practice, I would think. And I think themselves, they scrutinize themselves more over those things, and to get those impressions down, before the regular season, maybe make a nobody supports his echo. What?
So I think the three of us have an echo. I don't know if it's Johnny's feed coming back or, but when the three of us, David, Brian and me, we talk, there's a pop in. So I've been trying to mute Johnny every once in a while. He's coming back in. Let me bring him back in.
That was weird. Sorry about that.
No worries. You sound a lot clearer, but yeah, we do have like a little bit of feed. So thank you guys, everyone, for, sticking with us. We're not the high-techest people out there, but we're definitely trying to bring a good show together. The one thing that I would like to say is like with the preseason, I would like to see them go to more games. With us having so many people on the roster, I think they could make more money if they drop the tickets down a little bit more. We can see other players playing. I would like to see maybe 6 preseason games every year, and I would like to see the starters play at least a series every game. You could say, okay, the starters are playing just 4 snaps, punt the ball, 3 snaps, punt the ball. That's it. Everybody sit down, put second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth string in. But I think every player needs to get reps. They need to get game reps. And that's why I say preseason is a little bit different than like practicing or scrimmaging against another team, because you actually have like audience. People are watching you. It's not just, another team watching you and laughing. So I would like to see more preseason games. And that's what I would like to see.
When it comes to, I honestly would like to see our guys in better football shape because, our injury history. That's what I want to see. I want to see the starters out there a little bit more than we do, just to get them in better actual football shape for the season. And our injuries since we moved to Santa Clara have been just horrible. So,
I mean, how I look at the injuries that we've had, I look at it as a part of the game, but yeah, our checkered injury pass is not good. So, again, the thing I would like to see, I don't know if it's even possible it happens, but for one quarterback just to play every single game, because having 4 quarterbacks hurt last year puts a lot of different things in perspective.
and on top of that, Josh Johnson. Whoa, there's that echo. But yeah, Josh Johnson actually looked like a deer caught in the headlights. He looked so unprepared, it wasn't funny. That's why I think like Kyle Shanahan's going to be bent on getting all the quarterbacks first team reps. Is the cut down on that?
Yeah, definitely. It's just, we'll see again. Whether it's Brock, whether it's Trey. I mean, I honestly could care less who's the starting quarterback, because in Shanahan's offense, between them, it shouldn't matter.
Guys, it's been a great show. Let's go ahead and go around everybody and let's get final thoughts, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I have to take Lily here shortly. Johnny, it's been very nice having you on. We got to do this again. Really do. We're going to have to figure out the feedback. I don't know if we can talk later and figure that out, but
yeah, definitely.
Great show. And again, we got to have you come back on. We do this Saturday and Sunday. If you want to pop in, just you can either private message me or, come in the chat and we'll send you a link. Before we go to final thoughts, I want to throw out my last dad joke, and then we're going to start with Ryan on his final thoughts, David, and then we'll go to you, Johnny, and then we're going to get out of here. Thank you, everyone, for coming, too. Please hit the like, subscribe. We have David. He has a channel. Ryan has a channel. Johnny, one day, hopefully, we'll have a channel. Dude, you need a channel. You need a channel. You are the reason I want to do a channel. Okay, I want to be able to talk to people like you and Ryan and David here as well. All right, so enough of that. I hope Jess is still here because I found this joke and I was kind of thinking of her. So I'm gonna drop it.
Oh gosh.
Right? I like dad jokes. They're simple and funny. Punny. So I'm gonna mute and let's hear Ryan about yourself a little bit, what you got going on, and any final thoughts you have.
Oh, just put out a new video, Debo Samuel hype video. Please go check it out on my channel. Let me know what you think. Really appreciate it. Other than that, join me tomorrow, also here, maybe on this channel, but also on Corey Davis's channel, where he reveals who got all 15 questions from the trivia right this last week. So please join me there. It should be a great show. Bryant, David, thanks for having me. I'm out.
David, how are you doing? What do you got going on? And what's your final thoughts for the show?
Well, my final thoughts is the 49ers should be open competition for every starting position every season. And, I will be on Corey Davis's show tomorrow night, the award show, and we'll see who went 15-0. I highly doubt it was me. And I will be on tomorrow morning with you, Bryant, and Ryan G. Hensley. I'm looking forward to that one.
Johnny, how are you doing? And what do you got going on? Any final thoughts, 49ers or anything just in general?
In regards to the 49ers, it will be a very, very special year in Santa Clara. As long as for the most part they stay healthy, there's too much talent on that roster to not be in the Super Bowl in Vegas. And in regards to what I got going on, not much, Brian. I mean, again, I'm always on Twitter, so I believe my handle on there is John C2529. So if anyone has any questions for me, they can DM me on there. I check that pretty frequently, so that's pretty much how to find me for the most part.
Awesome. I really do appreciate you coming on. I met you through, I believe, Ryan G. Hensley's chat. I think I've seen you in Grant's chat, but I know for sure I've seen you in Ryan G. Hensley. And it's great when you start recognizing people's names and, you start building a relationship or, even if it's just cordial, it's great. And, again, you asked Ryan a lot of great questions and I'm like, hey, I gotta talk to you a little bit more. So maybe we can do this again here real soon. My thoughts for the Niners, I think we're going 15-2 or better. I know that might be a homer prediction, but I really feel confident that this team's going to we're going over the top. And I think, like you just said, Las Vegas, the Raiders Stadium, Super Bowl, do we not own Levi South, right? Look at it. Now we're going to own, potentially the Raiders Stadium. So I'm just like, fingers crossed. I think that could be a great thing. So I'm looking forward to it. And with that, guys, thank you all for coming. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to everybody. The links will be in the description later. If they're not there now, please follow Johnny C on Twitter. And, if you're not, he's a good guy. Go check him out. And everyone else, thank you for coming. 49ers Coffee Show. Make sure you subscribe so you can win a cup. And if you're not a 49er fan, like Lil Spongy or somebody else who comes in here, if you win, I'll make you a personalized Seattle cup or an Eagles cup or whatever. But we're just trying to build the community. Tell a friend, sub a friend. And with that, guys, hope you check us out tomorrow morning. We do have Ryan G. Hensley coming in 9 o'clock, and we'll probably open the panel up after that. But thank you again, guys, and go Niners. We are going to Be out.
Bang bang.
Go Niners. F the